Now, if you're like a lot of Aussie shoppers, you've probably noticed that you can buy things a lot cheaper online and overseas, but it still begs the question, why are things so expensive here in the first place?
Clothes, shoes, petrol, toothpaste, computers, furniture and food. They're all pretty essential things in modern life. But they're also all products that Aussies are getting ripped off for at the cash register. But here's the zinger. In the last few years, the value of our dollar has skyrocketed, just as currencies in the US and Europe have weakened, and yet we're still paying more. These jeans, 107% more. This DVD, 74% more. Petrol in your car, 58% more. The list goes on. It's massive markups like these that have driven shoppers to choose clicks over bricks. But the explosion in online shopping is hurting Aussie retail, except for servos. Try buying petrol over the internet. That's tough.
The combination of more online shopping, more international travel by Australians and the strong dollar has meant that there's more spending going on offshore and less spending going on in our domestic retail sector.
But it's not all bad news. Some of the world's biggest tech companies, including Apple, Microsoft and Adobe, have been summoned to Canberra to explain why they're charging us so much.
One of the main offenders is Adobe with its Master Collection. It would be actually cheaper for you to fly from Sydney to Los Angeles, buy the software online and fly back and still have $601 in your pocket.
So why, when we're already dealing with a punishingly high cost of living, are we being treated like second-class consumers? And is taking our business online and overseas the only way to deal with it?
Economist Richard Dennis is from the Australia Institute. Richard, is buying online and sending our cash overseas the only way to get around the high cost of products in shops?
Well, look, certainly sometimes it's the only way to get around, but as more and more Australians are shopping online, more shops are actually lowering their prices to compete. So even people who aren't shopping online are actually benefiting from this trend to online competition.
But they are still cheaper often online. I mean, I have to say I feel a bit guilty when I shop online because I know I'm not walking in and supporting the Aussie shops. But when there's such a price difference, I mean, what are the excuses, what are the reasons that shops are giving for having to charge so much more?
Look, the excuses are often that, you know, we have a 10% GST, but most countries have some form of sales tax, that we pay high rent, but the reason the rents are so high in Australian retail is the profits are so high. So, no, look, I wouldn't be feeling guilty. I think sometimes the shops should be feeling guilty that they're charging us twice as much.
You should never give the green light to a woman to shop online.
In terms of Aussies getting ripped off, what do you think is the worst product?
Well, the most ridiculous product is the fact that Australians pay more to download Australian music than Americans do to download the same song. But look, in terms of total amounts, software and computers, often we pay much higher prices, up to twice as much.
Well, sticking with that, obviously iTunes and Microsoft are two of the big companies there. Apple involved with a bit of price gouging. They've both been invited to Canberra to talk to the Pollies. Do you think that's going to make any difference to the pricing structure?
Look, I do. Yeah, this inquiry that Ed Husic got up, I think, is very powerful. We've noticed some of these price differences before, but they've never had to sit there and try and explain how it is they want to charge massively higher prices to Australians.
Now, Richard, you're the expert. Answer this. Vegemite, our national dish, we pay double for it here than the British pay for it in Britain. Yeah, true story. Explain that, man.
Look, I can't explain that, and I can't explain why the Poms even want to eat Vegemite.
But Richard, you don't like Vegemite, Richard?
Look, I'm not a big fan, and
You're not
maybe it was half. Maybe if it was half the price, I'd buy it.
All right, good to chat to you, Richard. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Do you really feel guilty shopping online, or are you guilty about spending money?
Probably just say that. It's probably more the spending the money.
Yeah, I thought so. Different kind of guilt.
Shut up.